It's impossible to overstate the influence James Cameron's Aliens has had over video games. From the rowdy hoots and hollers of Halo's interplanetary marines to layered rows of gnashing insectoid teeth in Contra, the medium owes a lot to the legendary 1986 film, and Aliens Fireteam Elite is a long overdue interactive cover song of sorts.
Have you been down to the surface? Did you make any arrests?
This three-player cooperative third-person shooter from developer Cold Iron Studios excels at frantic firefights with never-ending hordes of xenomorphs throughout gorgeous landscapes sure to tickle your nostalgia. It's only the lack of a compelling story and exhausting pacing that keep it from being a classic itself. Aliens Fireteam Elite takes place 2 decades after Ellen Ripley gave her life to protect humanity from the xenomorph in Alien 3. Sadly for everyone keen on keeping their chest cavity intact, the universe's deadliest species is still thriving. The latest outbreak is on LV-895, a planetoid rife with all sorts of acid-fueled uglies, and it's your job to mow down as many as possible. Beyond this embryotic set dressing, though, the story never gestates into a tale with anything to say or any nuance to it. Not once in the 10-hour campaign did I care about the events or character motivations, because what's there is thoroughly uninteresting, and ends up feeling as if you're just on a somewhat shallow Aliens-themed roller coaster. I won't deny that Fireteam's nostalgic peaks and valleys are a blast to ride out all the same, considering how joyously vicious combat is. Xenomorphs will spill into rooms emitting a raging torrent of spine-chilling shrieks, seeking to drown anyone caught in their sea of acidic lifeblood and head bites. Staying afloat means keeping them at a distance with the firearms at your disposal. Be it the M56 smart guns that automatically lock onto most anything that moves, or old-fashioned pump-action shotguns that come in handy for close encounters. There's something wildly satisfying about pumping a bunch of cannon fodder xenomorphs full of lead, then witnessing their exoskeletons explode into dark green hunks of cartilage and flesh. More formidable xenomorph breeds are not so easily disposed of, however. Take, for example, warriors, hulking brutes that serve as tanky bullet sponges. Whenever one showed up early in the campaign, my co-op partners and I would inevitably exhaust several magazines of ammo just to keep them from punching a hole through our skulls. Until we learned of a better way, that is. Fireteam periodically introduces new enemy types that force you to make the most out of your 5 available class toolkits, and I came to adore the Demolisher's shoulder-mounted rocket launcher. My only gripe with the classes is how weird it is having RPG-like elements when all of it amounts to little more than boring passive buffs. Sure, slight increases to a pulse rifle's damage is fine, but it's not compelling enough to make me want to replay missions ad nauseum as if this was Destiny, and no new strategies open up as a result. However, should you wish to take another stroll or two through the campaign, there's a decent amount of visual variety and optional objectives to spice things up. Fireteam has 4 chapters, each with 3 missions apiece, offering glimpses of iconic sights from across the Alien saga. From cold, moisture-caked metal corridors of an atmospheric processor, to engineer ruins commemorating long-forgotten battles with the xenomorphs. There's plenty to feast your eyes on. Better yet, selectable challenge cards like one that disables special abilities introduce unique modifiers to keep subsequent playthroughs relatively fresh. I welcomed any opportunity to tweak the ebb and flow of missions with open arms, because stagnation sets in quickly without it. That's due to the fact that Fireteam's level design is dismally repetitive otherwise. You're either funneling along narrow pathways or triggering wave-based defense sections. And essentially that's it. By the 30th press E to trigger the horde prompt, I couldn't help but sigh in exhaustion. At the same time, any deviation from this formula usually results in distinctly irritating encounters. Halfway through the campaign, you'll run into armed synthetic androids, and that's when Fireteam becomes a Gears of War style stop and pop affair. While I appreciate breaking up the monotony of persistent xenomorph ripples, the alternatives aren't exactly fun either. Most of the time they just made me wish the xenomorphs were all I had to contend with. Repetition be damned. What bugs me the most is while Fireteam lifts countless ideas from Left 4 Dead, it forgot all about the importance of safe rooms to mark progress and avoid frustration. Nothing takes the wind out of my sails like failing one of these bafflingly long missions. If the whole squad goes down, then it's back to the very beginning for the whole lot of you. That doesn't sound like a big deal, but when each mission takes upwards of 45 minutes on more challenging difficulties, the margin for error transforms into a cavernous precipice where patience goes to die. Aliens Fireteam Elite does enough right to be plenty worthwhile for a trio of co-op shooter fans who'd rather battle hordes of xenomorphs than the usual zombies. Between the excellent weapons, classes, enemy types, and some wonderful nostalgic hat tips toward what came before, it's a must-play if you hold any fondness for this series. The caveats, of course, are having you put up with repetitive scenarios and some excruciatingly drawn-out missions. Fireteam may not be a triumphant win, but it's far from a game over, man. For more, check out our reviews of The Ascent and Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. And make sure to watch our deep preview of Back 4 Blood. And for everything else, stick with IGN.